got our own ship finally. Yay! You know what? This is actually really awesome. I was expecting you to come up with something like this.
I've been working on this ship for a while. I got it up and running last week, testing the engines, the guns, that sort of thing. I wanted to surprise you for your 4th year as Bayou Grouch.
I thought you'd be pissed after last time.
Flashback.
There, have I forgotten anything else?
Well, you forgot about that guy over there.
That's right. I said I was a Jedi Knight, didn't I?
Well, I think if we both take him on, we can win. What do you think?
I'm sorry, I can't come to the phone right now. Please leave your name and number and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
I really hate that lizard sometimes.
End of flashback.
Oh, that didn't bother me in slightest. But there is something we should wrap up. We never finished the Ewok movies, my small Padawan.
Well, since I'm older, shouldn't I be the master and you be the Padawan?
It's just a phrase, you idiot.
I can't help it. After our last attempt at this movie, I'm kind of nervous.
You are older and wiser, no? I'm sure you can find ways around those obstacles.
I don't know. What's that about?
Something for later, don't worry about it.
Alright, let's take another crack at Ewoks, Battle for Endor. Now, for the people too young to remember, way back before the Disney buyout of Lucasfilms, even before the prequels, there was a little pocket in time after Return of the Jedi where Lucasfilm wasn't doing much Star Wars related stuff. Instead, they were focusing on wrapping up the Indiana Jones trilogy and one-off movies like Labyrinth, Willow, Howard the Duck, movies that nobody's ever heard of.
That was sarcasm, by the way.
But there was 2 Star Wars related movies specifically made for TV. The Ewok saga, including the series with the 2 movies. Now, how someone feels about the Ewoks mainly depends on the age of the fan in question, and even then it's not concrete because I've come across Star Wars fans of all ages who either despise the Space Bears or are largely indifferent to them. Personally, for me, when I was a kid, I loved the Ewoks. Yeah, you want to make fun of me, but for me, the Ewoks was my gateway into Star Wars. When Dad would put on the original trilogy, I'd stick around for the action set pieces, like if the blasters were going or lightsaber duels, but any kind of talking, I would just dip out and go play with my toys. So my dad found a way around this. He knew I watched reruns of the Ewok TV show, so he found the Ewok VHS tapes on sale and put them on. And I was hooked from the word go. I could not stop watching these films. So naturally, I got interested in Star Wars whenever my dad would put on the trilogy. Either way, if it wasn't for the Star Wars inspired Care Bear knockoffs, I may have not got into Star Wars, and that could be a positive or negative depending on which parent you ask. I've already covered the first film and the TV show, so today we'll be closing that loop that I started 3 years ago, back when I was nothing but a disembodied voice in Nigel's head.
Sorry, what did you say?
Nothing, don't worry about it. So let's take a bite out of Battle for Endor. But first, a short summary of the previous movie because, dang, has it really been 3 years? The gist of the story is a family crashes on the forest moon of Endor sometime after Return of the Jedi. The family is separated with the parents getting kidnapped. Wait, is that right?
What?
Kidnapped. Well, it's not the kids getting abducted, it's the parents, so would that be the right terminology?
This is a pointless tangent. Would you please get on with the summary?
Yes, get on with it!
Okay. The parents get abducted by the monster called the Gorax, and a few days later, the kids get found by Deej and his family, who is also related to Wicket from Return of the Jedi, who band together to help the youngins rescue their parents and defeat the Gorax. By and large, this movie was kind of a coming-of-age tale for Mace, the older brother, who was more or less the main character of the film, while the younger sister, Sindel, was more of a catalyst for the Ewoks to get on board with the whole thing. When you got a kid crying right there, it's kind of hard to say no.
I want my mommy and daddy.
We help you.
Now, Caravan of Courage, from my point of view, it's okay. It's a nice, fun romp. You can tell it was a movie tailored to a younger audience on a smaller screen. It has that whole feel-good adventure movie to it. There's some sword and sorcery stuff going on, literally, but at the end of the day, the parents get saved and the family gets reunited. The main character learns a valuable lesson, blah, blah, blah. Everything ends with happy smiles. But Battle for Endor is a different kettle of fish. The opening would have you believe it's going to be another feel-good romp, just like the last movie.
It's a trap!
Sindel, a few years older, is spending time with Wicket the Ewok, who can speak the common tongue. Obvious progression from Return of the Jedi, where he couldn't even understand the word hat. The two are discussing Sindel and her family's inevitable departure since her dad's almost got the ship fixed. Well, if they get off the planet, then that means that the movie ends, and since we got an hour and 10 minutes left of the movie, I'm going to assume that something bad happens, right? The Ewok village is under siege, and it doesn't look good for the Space Bears. From here, the duo split up to go and help their families. Now, I'm going to give you a hint of what's going to happen. The hint is, this movie was made back in the 80s.
Get back, Sindel!
Mommy!
Stay away! Get help! Get Dad!
Yeah, that's the thing with 80s movies. Even kids' movies did not pull punches. In the movie's first 15 minutes, not only does the mom get killed, but the movie also kills off the protagonist from the previous film. And it's not done yet. Her dad is getting the crap kicked out of him, and turns out this whole assault was just for the Star Cruiser's power source, not for the ship itself, but the crystal inside powering the damn thing. And the assault was led by a Dathomirian witch, Charl, the first time a witch has actually appeared in Star Wars canon. And beside her is King Tarek, the guy over the Marauders. And for the time, both of them were kind of intimidating as villains, especially Tarek, played by Carl Stuckman, who portrayed Lurch in the 90s Addams Family, and the Moonlight Man in Gerald's Game. This crew is very ignorant of technology. They understand the power source is the key off the moon, but too damn stupid to realize that the power they're looking for is physically sitting right there, getting stripped for parts by their own men. Prematurely doing their victory lap, Sindel's dad sees an opportunity to escape but gets tagged for his trouble. Give him credit, if he was a stormtrooper, that'd have been fatal. The father and daughter have a nice warm heart-to-heart before, the inevitable. Our heroine makes a break for it while her pop has a last stand against the Raiders, and like I said, 80s. You remember that witch? She can fly.
There's no escape for you, my little one.
They load everybody up and haul them out of the ruins of the Ewok village. And in regard to who these guys are, it's kind of muddled. If you go by the Star Wars wiki, they're a band of marauders who teamed up with Charl after the fall of the Empire to raid ships along the spaceways. They screwed up and crash landed on the moon because of course they did. Hell, the way Endor's shaping up, I wouldn't be surprised if Gilligan showed up at one point. But long story short, the wiki says they're looking for a way off the planet, but are looking for a particular power that the crystal can give them. Stuff that Tarek says backs up this theory.
Is this not a hidden ship? Are you not the guardian of the power?
But it's not so cut and dry. I will get into this later. There is dialogue later in the movie that pokes holes into this explanation. While Sindel is mourning her family, Deej is hard at work trying to rescue everybody because Deej is the hero we all deserve. He's able to tear a few loose boards out of the floor so Sindel and Wicket can escape. They squeeze through and make their way out into the forest, escaping, or so it seems. Unlike stormtroopers, these guys have peripheral vision. The duo get chased through the forest with blaster bolts flying over their heads. Now I'm just going to bring this up casually. The chase scene with Leia in the Obi-Wan TV show, it is laughable how different these two are. It's night and day. For one, this scene has better actors and was directed a hell of a lot better. It didn't feel like a bunch of dudes in costumes trying not to scare a little girl. In Battle of Endor, shit, nobody cared. They would have pyrotechnics going off over the child actors' heads. And I think at this point in time, Aubrey Miller, the actress who played Sindel, was 12, and Warwick Davis, who played Wicket, was 15. A little young to have explosives going off so close to him, but that was the 80s. But if you also examine how this scene was set up, the kids actually got a head start. The Marauders were trying to catch up to them, but firing over their heads to get them to stop. The chase reaches its climax at a mountain, and credit to Aubrey Miller and Warwick Davis here. These two give off energy of two friends being put through the ringer, and they're just tired of this crap. And look no further than this shot right here.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
They're able to find refuge in a cave in the side of a mountain, burying their pursuers under rocks. And just when you think this movie's going to slow down and give these kids a break, just enough time for Wicket to build a glider and wake up the resident of the cave. These kids just cannot catch a break. Sindel gets toted off with Wicket in hot pursuit. He's able to finagle a rescue, sacrificing the glider but crashing in the process. But they are able to escape from the monster under the cover of the forest. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but the Ewok movies have some of the best matte paintings in the entire franchise, and for good reason. The same crew from ILM who did the matte paintings for Return of the Jedi also did the paintings for the Ewok movies. You know those famous shots for the Imperial hangar when the Emperor arrives, Jabba's palace, Bespin on Empire Strikes Back, all of them were done by this crew. But for this movie, they actually had to pioneer a new technique by exposing the painting directly into the film negative as opposed to later in production. And this meant that the colors would pop better on a smaller screen. But this was mainly a way to save money, believe it or not. Due to the Ewok movies mainly being televised events over here in the States, they had a smaller budget than the mainline films. Cutting down on production time was just a way to cut costs, but the result actually looks pretty damn good. The next morning, the duo are woken up by the first friendly face they've seen since the escape. And that face belongs to a little tiny speedster named Teak. Wicket, still in attack mode, tries to ward off the intruder, but Sindel's like, hey, he's not trying to kill or kidnap us. Maybe he can help. Teak, thankfully, is like, I got you, cuz. I cannot explain what Teak is, since his species hasn't popped up in the mainline films or the EU since Battle for Endor. Maybe his whole super speed deal is part of his species, or perhaps he's a force wielder. But there's no evidence of that either, because he never cracks a lightsaber, and he never uses any other ability other than speed, so your guess is as good as mine. Teak leads the kids to a cabin deeper into the woods. Nobody's home and the kids assumed it's abandoned. It's not. It's Teak's home, and he doesn't live alone. In comes Teak's roommate, a fellow grouchy old goat named Noah. Another person marooned on the moon. Like, seriously, I thought the Empire built the second Death Star here because this was out of the way, off the radar. With everybody and their uncles crashing on this damn moon, I'm surprised there isn't a giant SOS carved on its surface. Noah's unhappy with the new guest because, you know, he's Wilford Brimley. He kicks him out and has a bout of guilt, giving Teak whiplash on whether he wants to help the kids or not.
Besides, if I did let him stay, first thing you know, they'd want to be friends or something. And then look at the trouble we'd have.
Of course he helps the kids, and it's in the most Wilford Brimley way possible.
All right, what are you two little wood rats trying to do? Burn down the whole forest?
But I was cold.
I ain't gonna let you build one of these fires, you know, unless you build it in the fireplace.
What the fuck? At first it's just for a night, and then it turns into 2 nights, and then 3 nights, and you get where I'm headed with this. While this is going on, Charl and Tarek are arguing on how to activate the power of the crystal, failing miserably, resulting in Tarek losing his shit and threatening Charl. She needs to find Sindel and disclose the secrets, or, you know, off with her head. Yeah, that wiki entry is looking a little shaky. I doubt these Nimrods have ever been on a ship. But that seems to be all I can do today. It seems our transmission is cutting out. Nigel, I thought this thing had a working receiver on it.
I'd like to see how many systems would function perfectly if you built a starship from scratch.
Well, anyway, tune in next time for part 2, assuming we get the receiver fixed. Hello, everybody, and this is a personal message from the creator, Jeff, the voice behind Grouch, you know, the whole 9 yards. And personally, I didn't want to make a 2-parter video, but because of Disney's draconian copyright claim system, I'm having to find ways around this, because I already uploaded the video in its entirety on Patreon and then here for about a day, and then it got taken down by Disney. Not by YouTube's algorithm, but by Disney itself. Even though I followed all the guidelines and everything like that, I'm still having trouble with these assholes, so just bear with me, and part 2 will be out sooner than you think. In fact, if you're watching this in the future, it probably already is out, hopefully.